Hello everyone, Big Clinky here with another update video just explaining on how things are going in between projects. At the moment, I'm still working on the Sacred Stone stat sheets. I've done most of them for the characters who are present in the main story, but I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do the classes yet, so I'll have to figure out a layout for that. I'd estimate that it's about 60-70% done at this point. Just bear with me because these stat sheets actually are a lot of work, especially when you have to do them on a program that crashes every few minutes. As a quick sample, I thought I'd show a stat sheet here, mainly to just reassure people that I have taken something into account. Certain characters had their base stats or growth rates changed in the English version compared to the Japanese version, so I'm going to be showing that on the sheets. Loot here, as you can see by all those red parts, got a few nerfs in the English version. I also want to explain how I've done the average stats, because it's actually going to look a little bit weird, but there is a reason for it. I've done average 2020 stats, not including promotion bonuses, and not including class caps, so you might see averages that go over 30. I felt like doing it this way because, by giving an idea of what the character's average overall stats are, irrespective of what class you choose, it'll help you decide which class path is most appropriate for them. For example, if we take Loot here, you'll notice that her attack average is over 30, which is extremely high. But Mage Knight, one of her options, only has an attack cap of 25. So you'll know that if you do promote Loot to that class, though she will have better movement, it will actually stifle her potential a bit in that stat. However, on, say, a character who has an attack average of only around 24-25-ish, that wouldn't really matter. However, for pre-promotes, I will be using the more traditional method of just average level 20 stats and then the class caps below, because obviously, you can't choose what to promote them into. I have used this time to replay the first few chapters of the game, so don't worry, I am getting ready for it. While I'm getting the remaining stat sheets done though, I'm gonna be uploading more of these Persona 5 stuff as filler. And there's gonna be one more thing though. I am announcing a new series that will actually be done in the interim. It's gonna be quite a short one, but it is a game that I've actually wanted to cover for quite some time. In fact, I originally did plan to do it after Persona 3. But certain circumstances have meant that it's actually a game that's quite appropriate to do now. Let's just say in about a week or so, something will be happening that this game may or may not tie into. As for what game it is, well, like Spirit of Justice, it's actually a genre that I'm a big fan of, but I've never actually done on the channel before. But it's nothing to do with visual novels whatsoever. It is also a game that's very nostalgic for me because it was my first home console game ever. I should mention that my first ever home console was a PS2, but I actually mostly used it to play PS1 games. I actually tried to record this game off of my PS2, but for some reason the Elgato Game Capture HD is a bit weird in that regard. Basically, I can't get it outputting to both the TV and the laptop at the same time. It's either one or the other, and both are extremely bad, because without feeding to the laptop, I can't actually record it, and without feeding to the TV, there's no way I'm playing the game, because there's a lot of lag in the feed to the laptop. I checked around online, and apparently this is caused by the Game Capture HD not really being able to work with, I think it's like 240p footage, because that's what the PS1 is. Apparently, the only way to solve this is via a SCRAT to HDMI adapter, and given that getting the game for Virtual Console and PS3 was actually cheaper than getting one of those adapters, I figured I'd just do that and record off the PS3. So, yes, I've already recorded a little bit of this series, and I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out, so look forward to that. It's going to be pretty fun to work on just a nice short project after the absolute monstrosity that was P3, which I still really enjoyed, but, yeah, needing a bit of a break after that. In terms of other channel updates, I'm thinking of trying to get monetization set up on the channel soon. The reason I didn't do it before now was because I wanted to finish Persona 3 first. I didn't want to get potentially knocked down to only being able to upload 15-minute long videos while doing that series, because I really wanted to upload lots of long videos for that. Now that's done, I'm thinking I might take the risk now. Again, it's probably not going to be that big a deal, but just in case anything happened, that's why I've held off on it. So, if you start seeing ads on my videos, eventually, that'll be because I've set up that. So I'm sorry about that, but I just feel like it would be nice to have a little bit of extra money coming in. That's mostly all I wanted to say, but I get the feeling that a lot of people are going to be asking me what my thoughts are on various announcements that have happened recently, so I thought I'd get that out of the way here, so as I don't have to reply to a bunch of comments all on the same thing. So, firstly, the Pokemon Direct. I'm really worried about speaking my mind on this, because this one seems to have made the fan base really salty. And I'm personally on the camp that felt that Pokemon Stars was always a lie and was never going to happen, so I really didn't care that there was no announcement for the Switch. Apparently they have since said they are working on a game for the Switch, so I guess that will alleviate some things. But I always saw the Switch as more of a home console than a handheld. And Pokemon does not do main series installments for home consoles. So I kinda like what these new games, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, might have to offer. It seems like there'll be a hybrid of a third version and a full sequel. Personally, I'm hoping that they start out more just similar to the original, but something happens at one point that flips everything on its head and just blows your mind completely. I have a feeling that something to that effect may happen, given the storylines involving alternate universes and certain things that happened in the main storyline of Sun and Moon. I actually have a bit of a weird crack theory that maybe these games actually take place in what is the Ultra Beast dimension for the original Sun and Moon, and that all the Pokemon that look like normal Pokemon in these ones actually look like Ultra Beasts in the original games. Speaking of Ultra Beasts, one thing that I will say, I'm hoping you get more Ultra Beast boss fights during the main story. One thing that really did annoy me about Sun and Moon was that all of them except for Nihilego were in the post-game, and that was just such a missed opportunity to me. As far as E3 stuff goes, in general I tend not to follow E3 because I like to avoid the massive flame wars that sprout out because of it, but Nintendo's side of it seemed really good this year. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looks pretty cool, although it annoys me that most of the comments on the video are all, "Give us dual audio, please." Voice acting is not always better in Japanese. It's just harder to recognize bad voice acting when it's not your native language. That's always been my opinion on the matter. I guess I'll take this opportunity to quickly say that I actually hated the original Xenoblade's English voice acting when I first heard it, and then it really grew on me and I ended up loving it by the end of the game. Anyway though, really the main Switch game that I'm interested in at this point is Super Mario Odyssey, and the new trailer looks pretty amazing, so I'm definitely excited for that. Also, 2 new Metroids. Now, I'm actually not the biggest Metroid fan, but I'm glad fans of that series finally have a reason to celebrate. I wasn't too surprised about Metroid Prime 4 in all honesty. There were a lot of signs that it was coming, though I am somewhat worried that Retro Studios isn't working on it, but anyway. And then FE Warrior stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of one of the people who sort of jumped ship on the game after finding out that it's going to be mostly just Awakening and Fates characters. When I first saw the announcement of the spin-off games, I never in my life thought that I'd be more interested in the mobile one, but that's what's happened. I guess the amiibos are kind of interesting. I'll probably be getting the Tiki one, probably not the Chrom one. I'm sorry, I'm not a very big fan of Chrom, personally. Speaking of amiibos, apparently the champions from Breath of the Wild are getting amiibos, and they might be getting a kind of prequel DLC storyline? I'm not sure. The champions were all pretty cool characters. I'm one of the people who believes that the backstory of Breath of the Wild should have been its actual story. So, I don't know, I might be interested if they did a prequel DLC. let me just say, I'm not the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild overall. I have got all 120 shrines, and I guess I'm at the point where I need to take on the final boss now. But really, open world games are not my thing. Breath of the Wild is just not a game meant for my side of the Zelda fanbase at all. I prefer the dungeons and the item-based puzzles, which were heavily downplayed in Breath of the Wild, so yeah, not really too happy about that. Oh yeah, and Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga Remake, that's actually pretty awesome, although I probably won't be getting it because I already played the original. It's weird that I'm finally getting into the age where remakes of games that I've actually played when I was younger are coming out. Before, I used to love remakes because most of them were of games that I never got to play as a child, thanks to either missing them or them flat out not being released in Australia. Chrono Trigger. But yeah, this will be great for people who never played the original, but I'm personally probably not going to get it. The new Kirby looks pretty cool, although we don't really know that much about it. I still need to get around to playing Planet Robobot. I get the feeling that I'd really like that game. It's just that I'm waiting for a sale because games in general are pretty expensive in Australia. And then that bizarre Mario Rabbids crossover. From the looks of it, it's apparently a tactical RPG, which actually would be the kind of thing that I enjoy, which is kind of bizarre. I've heard the general reaction to it is people are incredibly shocked that it actually looks interesting. But yeah, we'll need to find out more about it, I guess. At the moment, though, Super Mario Odyssey is definitely going to be my main reason to get a Switch, which I'll probably be getting at some point later in the year. So those are just my thoughts on most things that have happened recently. So I should wrap up now. Summary of original points is that I'm still working on the Sacred Stone stat sheets, but I'm almost done with them. And there will be a new series coming out in the meantime, so look forward to that. See you then.